everybody, Doug Walsh here. I am back with Habiba here at Horses a Second Language. I'm really excited to work with Habiba and show you guys what we need to do when we have a horse. This is a continued from our horse segment earlier that was how to work with a horse that is really pulley in the contact and wants to pull down and really dive in on the forehand, or just pull the bit out of your hands, so or the reins out of your hands. So the first thing we did in the last video was we worked on that lateral flexion, which is so important. If you've got the lateral flexion to the left nice and soft, and we have our lateral flexion to the right, which is nice and soft, we want to be able to have that really easy when we pick up the rein. They almost want to reach for us instead of really being pulley. If we can't get softness to the left and softness to the right, we're gonna have a hard time for them to understand how to drop their nose, which is the vertical flexion. So if I pick up this contact here, I want her, as soon as I pick this up, I want her to want to drop the nose. And you see how quickly I released. Remember, it's so important to have the release of the pressure that they learn from, not the pressure itself. So once again, I pick up those reins. I'm not using this to ask as a backup cue, because I'm just asking and then I release. Now if I was to hold that connection and I wanted to back up through the reins, I would hold that connection, make sure my pelvis is opened up, my legs are off, and she would learn to back up. Now I also want her to be able to back up through my seat as well, but we'll talk about that in a different video. So I have her now, so we've worked on the lateral flexion where she's soft. So if I pick up this right rein here and ask her to bend slightly to the right, and I put my right leg on her and my right seat bone, that she's going to step around and under without being pulley. And then when I take that leg off, she knows to just come to a stop. So we're working on stopping through our seat, because this was another thing, she didn't like to stand still. So we're working on all these great little things for her to make her understand how to be the best horse that she can be. So I'm going to show you some exercises. We're going to walk around here a bit, and I'm going to show you some exercises, and I'm going to walk off here, and I want her to be really light through the hands. So as I'm walking around here, I just want to make sure, can I pick up a soft feel where she wants to be soft, and then if I want to give her her head, that she can stretch out and down if that's what she wants, so she understands what I'm asking for. So now if I ask her, and she's still learning this, but if I ask her to walk, to step under her hind like this, and then I come to a stop and I want to roll the front end across, so now I'm going to put my outside leg on and ask her to roll the front end across and walk off this way, is that I want her to be soft in the bridle to do that. So if I'm coming around this way and I step under, I ask her some flexion, ask her to step under with that inside hip. Now I come to a stop, I put my outside leg on and just ask her to rock back and across. One step, that she doesn't get pulley. So this is a great exercise to try with your horses to see how they are when it comes to the contact in between your hands and their mouth, because we want to have a contact that is an energy, a flowing energy. So right now my contact with her is that she can put her head down. If I pick that contact back up and I say, okay, now I want you just to roll the front end across, and just roll the front end across, that she does it and she doesn't want to get pulley in the contact. I want to maintain a light feel on my horse, and I'm going to explain this really quick. So I'm going to ask her to move the front end to the left now, and I'm going to ask her to come to a stop. And the light feel with a horse is so important, because when we have their head position in an area that we can manage for them, so I can ask her to put her nose out or bring her nose back, and she's soft with that, when we start to power up our horse from behind, we have a light horse up front, and the power can come from the hind and lift up through the withers, lift up through the pole, create a little bit more weight in our hands, because now we've got an uphill horse that's circulating the energy back through the pole, down through the bit, coming back up to us through their hindquarters, and it's a nice recirculating energy. But if we have a horse that's really heavy in the forehand already, then they're already going to be, if we have too much weight in our hands, and we feel like we're going to get big biceps from riding them, they're truly not using themselves the way they need to biomechanically. So just remember that when you're watching this video, is that whether you're a performance horse or you're just riding and you're trying to get a horse to be collected, which the easiest definition of collection is more than 50% of the weight is on the hind, and the more collected they are, the more the withers are going to come up, and the more percentage of mass is going to be behind of the horse. So by nature, her standing here, she's 60 to 65% of her weight on her forehand. So if she grabs that bit and she wants to pull, then she's going to be pushing the withers into the ground. She'll be riding into the ground, because if you look at my hand position right now to her head, it's going down this way. So if she's going to be pulling down, she's going to be pulling down into her forehand. Biomechanically, that's what happens. So now I might go, okay, can we just rock back? And I'm going to look at footfall too. So if I'm going to ask her to sit back and rock across, I'm going to wait till the left foot drops, and then I'm going to ask her to move that right foot over. So what I did there is I had her pivot back on the left foot, and then that next step was a nice big step with the right. So I'll try the same thing on the going to the left. So I'm going to ask her to drop back on that right. So left, right, and then step over. So these are all things that we can help our horses to balance, so we have a better chance of having a good relationship with them under saddle. If we don't have their head, if we don't have access to their head, that's a big beacon that says we should be worried, or I'm not happy here, or my balance is off. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. If you have, make sure, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Take care, and we'll talk to you soon.